Okay, well, good evening again. My name is Janetta Lomia, District Director of Guidance. Welcome, welcome. So happy that you're here. Grade 8 parents, correct? Just in case. It's a lot going on tonight, so just want to make sure that you're in the right place at the right time. So tonight we'll introduce to you our school counseling program here at Finley Middle School. I know it's only November, but we're already planning for the high school for your children. And so we will be discussing what's ahead, not only in ninth grade, but, thereafter. So I'm going to introduce our amazing principal, Mrs. Rathel, who's going to introduce the program. And I hope that you enjoy the presentation. It will be posted on the website and it will be recorded for future viewings. And if your friends or anyone who has missed tonight's presentation can always go on the website or the YouTube channel. The recording will be posted there in a few days. So without further ado, here's Mrs. Rathel.
Hi, good evening, everyone. The word amazing, I don't get that often, so thank you so much. All right, so let me just share with you real quick this guidance presentation. I've been here for 5 years, and what we found is when I first came here, we have a lot of these 8th grade kids this early in their career are now signing up for 9th grade classes. You guys are like, what are these classes? What are the electives? I don't understand. I don't know what I'm picking. And there's nothing to give you that information, just your 13-year-old kid, love them to death, but I'm not sure how much they're telling you. So when COVID kind of hit, we didn't have that open dialogue. So I have to thank Ms. Ram Logan, who is on maternity leave, just had a baby girl. We're excited for her. And Ms. Logan did a online, by Zoom during COVID, kind of letting all the parents know. Real helpful, helped out, and then we came back, and we kind of didn't do it anymore. So with discussion, it was like, you know what? Let's bring this and start having the parents here and again online. So this is just to let you know what's happening. So I'm doing the introduction and then I'm out because this is all high school. So I have no idea. But from here, let me at least start this little clicker. Okay, so what we're going to go over tonight. Sorry, I'm a mover. Okay, we can talk about who's who, all the people in the building if you don't know already. The role of the counselor, it still stays the same at the high school, but a little bit more intense because you're going to start looking at the college process. What the student support services are, your academics, those New York State diploma requirements. That's all them. That's the information you're going to need when you move into the high school. The course selection, which is the stuff that your kids are looking at now. Right now, what am I taking as a 9th grader? What courses, what electives? That's super important for them to know what choices they have. The extracurricular activities, clubs, sports. You guys already know about the parent and student portals, and of course, Naviance is super important when they get in the high school for colleges, and then any questions you may have. So let's talk about who's who. Again, principal, Tracy Rothel. Assistant principal is Mr. Parm. He is not here this evening, and we do have a new dean. Miss Biscardi is not here anymore, but we have Mrs. Amanda Schaefer, who started just a couple weeks ago. It's been great addition. I think your kids probably know who she is. Our school counselors, we have Lauren Waldron, who is over there. That's Miss Ram Logan's replacement. We have Lisani Batista. She is not married to Mr. Batista in the building, just so you know. One's a T, 2 T's, 1 T. And then we have Miss Allison Logan, who is still here. From there, we have our social workers, Miss Catherine Costa, who is here every day. And then we have Miss Mary Guzman-Lewis. She's here on Mondays. Our school psychologists, we have Dr. D, Mary D. Benedetto, who's here 5 days a week. We have Jasmina Niskevska, who is here on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. And we have Ms. Becker on Monday to Friday. There is a quiz at the end, so you guys know every day, right? I'm still trying to keep a track of everybody. And then, of course, I have our neighborhood aide, who is Miss Idania Rivera, who's actually in the back here. If you have any questions, she's here on Tuesdays and Thursdays. So what we're trying to tell you is there's a lot of support, a lot of people, if you have any questions, that are here to assist in any way possible. So I think at this point, Miss Alamea, you're back, and she's going to talk to you about the role of the counselor here and, more importantly, in the high school.
Thank you very much. And so the role of the counselor has evolved over the past, I would say, few decades. It used to be that you would go to your counselor, you would talk about your courses, maybe college, and that's it. So these 3 great professionals have met with your children, not only to talk about course selection, but they're available for any type of social emotional support. if need be, discuss, study skills, time management, stress management. There's classroom push-ins, there's groups. So obviously I'm not going to recite what you see. I know that you read. You can do fine by reading the PowerPoint presentation. And so we have the counselors. Again, the role is quite complex, and it's not just, let's talk about next year's courses and that's it. No, it's more than just that. Definitely bridging the gap between, home and school. So the counselor is available to help with communication between parent and teacher or student and teacher, so that counselors can work with students about becoming independent. So school counselors assist students develop an educational plan that's realistic and appropriate to obtain goals. What that means is that counselors sit down with their students to set up SMART goals, right? Measurable, attainable goals that are realistic, that are time bound. It could be an academic goal, such as I will achieve an 85% at the end of the first quarter in math, or I will pass all of my courses with a 90 or higher. That could be a SMART goal, right? And so that is one of the responsibilities that the counselor is in charge of. Also, counselors assist students recognize and utilize academic strengths so they can make effective decisions, such as what strength am I good at, again, social studies or English, and what does that mean to me with regards to maybe future AP classes at the high school or even a future career. School counselors assist students analyze the interrelationships of interests and abilities to increase understanding of career exploration. And Mrs. Logan will touch upon the platform called Naviance, which allows students to do a little bit of self-discovery as self-exploration when it comes to interests, when it comes to personality type, when it comes to career, future major of study in college, trade, etc. Also, counselors assist students to improve responsibilities and independence. So always constantly reminding students that, asking for help is being part of being a good, responsible, independent student. Going into the student portal is important on a daily basis to view your academic record, your grades, your attendance, etc. So owning your education, that's part of what the counselors are here for, to advocate for you, but also to instill independence in you, student, as you, again, you're in 8th grade, but we always are planning for you to be a high school student in training, if you will. So the council also assists students with developing skills to foster social emotional growth and understanding, coping skills, again, stress management skills. They could be a meditation session. I'm stressed out. I have 2 exams and they're actually in the class that I really don't do well. And so the counselor is here to also give that resource, give that calm, moment, that peaceful moment in their office to discuss how they can manage their stress, manage their time, and build self-confidence. And so we're just going to jump, as you know, there are the graduation requirements tend to be adjusted every, I would say, 10 years, 15 years. We will hear from the state in the 2026. Our New York State diploma requirements will be adjusted and reviewed. But for now, I'm going to share with you what's for next year. And so the graduation requirements to earn a diploma, there are 3 main diplomas, as you can see: local diploma, Regents diploma, and Regents diploma with advanced designation. So every student must pass 4 credits of English, 4 credits of social studies, 3 credits of math, 3 credits of science. For the Regents or local diploma, 1 year, 1 credit of language other than English, half a credit or just 1 class of health, 1 credit of art and or music, either one. PE, physical phys ed, is 2 credits, so that would be 1 phys ed in the fall and 1 phys ed in the spring. Then you have electives, and that is actually something that the counselors, when they pushed into the to see the students, I would say a couple of weeks ago, they discussed different types of electives. Electives could be anywhere from creative writing, you'll hear more about those electives that the students can take in ninth grade. So the state does require for students to earn 3.5 credits of electives, and for the Regents Diploma with Advanced Designation, 1.5 credits. So the total minimum requirement is 22 credits. So 1 credit could be technically a full year course, is 1 credit. Half a credit is a half a semester or every other day, full year. So I would say 95 or more % of our students do graduate with well over 22 credits because, there's 9 periods in the day, there's 4 years in high school, there's time to take a bunch of electives. And the purpose of these electives is to allow students to explore what they like, what they don't like, and maybe hopefully they can decide what field of study they would like to get themselves in, or what major they would like to declare in the future as college freshmen. And so again, the diploma types also require Regents exams. Anyone familiar with Regents exams, taking Regents exams? So again, 65 is the passing grade, not only for our course grades, but also our Regents exams. And so for the Regents diploma, a student must pass 5 Regents exams. And for the Regents diploma with advanced designation is 8 exams and pass the language other than English checkpoint B exam. And here is the list. And again, you can refer to this slide later on, and you will view it and see it on the website. If you want to delve into the course description of future classes that your child will be taking, please visit the district's website. You would need to go to main navigation and then click guidance in order to gain access to our 24-25 curriculum guide. That's already posted on the website. So let's see. So the scheduling process for grade 9. So last month and between last month and this month, the counselors went in, pulled kids out of our students, our 8th grade students, out of PE to discuss their, the high school, life at the high school, electives, etc. And there's also I believe it was 2 weeks ago, I think it was October 20th, we had the art row show. So that was great. Students had an opportunity to visit the different stations and learn more about the art course offerings at the high school. So now in November through February, pre-registration meetings as needed. The council will be meeting with the students, as well as you are more than welcome to request an appointment with the counselor to discuss next year's course selection or courses. Okay. And then in February, all teachers enter their course recommendations. They actually share those with the counselors, and in turn, the counselors enter the course recommendation in eSchool in the system. So there are a few classes, such as if a student wants to go into a living environment honors, that needs to be recommended by the teacher. Alternatively, if a student needs some support, especially in math, Algebra 2, the Algebra 2 support also is recommended by the teacher, by the math teacher. And so in May, the course request tab in eSchool will be activated, and you will be able, parents and students will be able to view the course requests for the following year. And this is only a list of courses, it's not the actual schedule. And then in June, a final determination will be made regarding course placements based upon the final grades. So anything can happen. A teacher can recommend, once again, living environment honors, but if the student did not do well in their science class, that teacher has to have a conversation with the parent, and perhaps the recommendation needs to be discussed at, whether it would be a living environment Regents level class, the recommendation versus the honors. So that's an example. And then in August, I know I'm so way ahead of myself or ourselves, but the course schedules will be posted on the school portal. So that would be about, I would say a week or, like a week or less right before school begins. Okay, so without further ado, I'm going to introduce Lisani Batista, school counselor.
Hello, everyone. Thank you, Ms. Halomia. All right, so now we are going to do course selection time. So we spoke to all the 8th graders about this already, and I'm going to walk you guys through the sequence of courses that the 8th graders are going to take next year in 9th grade. So all of our 8th graders right now are in English 8. Next year, they're going to go into English 9 regions. All of our 8th graders are in Social Studies 8 right now. Next year, they're going to go into Global History 9R, so 9 regions. All of our 8th graders are in Algebra 1. Next year, they're going to go into Algebra 2. The students that are in Science 8 this year, next year, they're going to go into Living Environment regions. And then students that are in Earth Science this year in 8th grade are going to go into Living Environment Honors. Similar for World Language, so they follow a sequence. Students that are in Spanish 1 are going to go into Spanish 2. If they're in Spanish 2, go into Spanish 3. Same for French, French 1, and then 2, 3. Same for Italian, Latin. Native Spanish goes into Native Spanish 2, and the Native Spanish grammar for our dual language kids go into Native Spanish for honors. And just another thing to note is that honors recommendations will be determined by the teacher at the end of the year for English, global, and also living environment. So 9th grade is a super fun time because it's the first time that these students get to pick their electives, the classes that interest them. So if you look at on the top for the art and music, students have to fulfill a music or art graduation requirement, 1 credit to graduate from high school. So the classes that fulfill that New York State graduation requirement are studio in art, creative crafts, and media art, or band, concert choir, string orchestra, or music theory. So students have to select one of those classes in 9th grade. Some of our students are actually in studio and art in 8th grade. So at the end of this year, they'll fulfill their graduation requirement, which means that all the other art classes are open to them in 9th grade, which is very exciting. Some of the options that are available for our studio kids as well as other kids, if they choose an art as their elective, is ceramics and sculpture 1, intro to photography, computer graphics, drawing and painting, creative video 1, video broadcasting 1, fashion design illustration, fashion merchandising, and video broadcasting 2. And if you just note, fashion merchandising and video broadcasting 2 are still pending board approval. And then for our business education and technology electives, we offer accounting 1, accounting 2, business management and human relations, career and financial management, personal law 1 and 2, and sports marketing. And then for some other electives that are offered for all 9th graders at the high school, it's the computer science. There's a computer science standard that Ms. Waldron will speak about in just 1 minute. We offer for science electives, animal behavior, intro to science research, astronomy. For math electives, we offer statistics. For English, we offer creative writing. And then for social studies, we offer Asian studies. And if you go into the Huntington School website, you can see a description for all of these electives under our curriculum guide. And I definitely encourage you to sit with your child, actually, not your student, and go through the electives, go through the ones that are available for them so that they can make a choice that is in line with their interests. They don't pick something that's not of interest to them. We want this to be fun. It's the first time they get to experience an elective, and we want it to be something that they want to do. So now Ms. Waldron will talk to you about the computer science standard.
My name is Miss Waldron. I'll be filling in for Mrs. Ram-Logan for the remainder of the year. So if your student has Mrs. Ram-Logan as their counselor, I will be their counselor for this school year. It's a pleasure to meet you all. So the computer science standard, students will be fulfilling the New York State Computer Science Standard by taking the Computer Science Essentials course. Half of the students will take this course in 9th grade, and the other half of the students will take this course in 10th grade. This course will be beneficial to students because they will be introduced to skills that are needed for the high demand of computer science careers in today's ever-changing world and society that is so revolved around technology. Jobs such as app developer, software analyst, and security information analyst are in demand more than ever, and students will learn the skills necessary for things after they graduate that can be helpful with them going into college or a career in sciences. There are a variety of options for physical education courses. Although students will not be guaranteed their first choice, they will be able to select by preference their PE semester course. We have team sports, which is a more competitive class for students who want to work together on a team, whereas individual sports and personal fitness are more independent. There's also dance, yoga, and mindfulness courses, and we have unified PE, which is an integrated physical education course. Thank you.
Hi, how are you? Allison Logan here. Nice to see some familiar faces. This is my 7th year actually at Finley, so I'm sure that I have a lot of repeat siblings, so maybe you've heard some of this, but there are some new standards as Ms. Waldron shared, and there are constantly evolving courses and choices, so that's a real fun thing for a lot of our students. As was said before, we did push into classes, and we gave actually about 90% of this PowerPoint presentation is what your children saw when we presented their electives to them. We do have a guidance Google Classroom, so I definitely encourage you to go ahead and go on there. You can see the PowerPoint presentation on our Google Classroom, as well as a link to the curriculum guide. I know Ms. Elamia also posts this particular PowerPoint to the Huntington website for your review after, if you'd like. So, okay, there are so many different kinds of sports that the high school offers. There are just, these is not even the complete list. There are fall sports, winter sports, and spring sports. Most certainly you want to make sure that your children have their annual checkup, their physical papers all ready, because a lot of the sports do begin almost as soon as the school year starts. So make sure you're listening to the announcements and you have all your paperwork ready. So student activities and clubs, this is a really wonderful way to really acclimate yourself to the high school environment. I know as 9th graders, I see some students out here. I know it's a big change and it can be really scary. It's a lot bigger of a school, but joining clubs and activities really helps you to feel part of the community. It helps you meet new people, develop friendships, and it really kind of helps you to spark your interests. And when you really figure out what kind of activities you like to do, it can help you decide what classes you want as well. Like Ms. Elmia said, a lot of students do end up graduating with a lot more than 22 credits. And that's really because they're able to choose a path that they may enjoy, whether it's art or business or psychology. So this is not an exhaustive list. Again, some of them that are very popular are the Drama Club, the Foreign Language Honor Societies are super popular, the Math Honor Society, the Key Club, Habitat for Humanity. So many are really very involved in our community here. And also, if there is a particular club or activity that you want to create, you can. You just have to find an advisor. So they're always open to that as well. Okay, so the parent and student e-school portals. I know this was touched upon a little bit, and students now, even in the lower grades, have access to their e-school and their portals, which was never the case, let's say, 5 years ago. So we really encourage students, especially in 7th and 8th grade, to get onto their portal daily if you're interested, but at the very least weekly. We recommend parents to even make a weekly ritual, whether it's Friday night or Sunday afternoon, just to go on together and check so that you can see, kids are probably not too happy about this, but you can see together what needs to be done, what is, missing, just so that you can keep yourself organized and on top of it, because this is really the last opportunity that students have in middle school to prepare themselves for high school and the rigors of high school, and they expect that by the time you get to 9th grade, you're organized, you know how to handle your business, so that's very important. Okay, so now we're talking about Naviance and our college and career readiness. So Naviance is something we've been using for quite a while since I've been here, and it is a wonderful college and career readiness platform. It has become so big in the last 7 years that I've been here, to the point where you can actually create a resume. You can export it into a Word document. They are applying to colleges through this website. You can use it as a digital agenda book. You can use it as a planner. We go into the classrooms and do guidance lesson plans and create goals for students in 7th and 8th grade. There is just so much to be utilized. In family consumer science classes, recently our 8th graders took a career interest inventory. And when we go into the classrooms, we're able to help them look through careers or potential colleges that may match with those interests. So you can really delve deep. As I said to the students, it's not limited to just during school hours. You can check it on the weekends, over vacations. You can show older siblings or friends or cousins just kind of what your interests are. And we encourage you to do so. There are various self-exploratory surveys. We can build a resume, explore careers, and of course it's highly utilized at the high school level. So that's also why we introduce it at the 7th grade level and create a lesson as well for the 8th grade students, because by the time they're in high school, it's really expected that they know how to navigate the website, they know how to read the tasks, they can even connect their and your cell phone so that you get text blasts about career fairs and college fairs, and maybe summer job opportunities. So it's a wonderful resource. Okay, and that's it.
Thank you, thank you. And so I know we gave you a lot of information in a short amount of time. I also want to tell you that in January, Mr. Cusack at the high school, principal at the high school, will host a 9th grade evening event for all of you to explore more of these activities and clubs, and you'll get to hear from actual students that are running these clubs and student organizations. So it's really cool. Any questions that you may have at this point? If any questions, feel free to skip this. Good. No. So the question is, and I'm going to repeat it so that it's in the recording so everyone can hear the question and the answer. And so when the question is, should a student decide on a major of study for college, correct, in 9th grade? No, that is actually part of the process in terms of when a student is taking elective courses, right? So let's say a student wants to go into the arts. So they are taking student art this year. They will take, let's say, drawing and painting the following year, and they may want to pursue an AP drawing, course in 10th grade. And so that is the exploratory process of a student trying to find themselves and see if this is a major of study later on when they're a freshman in college. I hope that clarifies it. Okay. Yes. So for our dual language students, I think at this point, our current 8th graders, I do know that they took the FLB in 6th grade. And so that's actually their first high school course and credit and local assessment, the FLB. So FLB it's similar to a Regents exam. And so when a student moves on to in the dual language class, the student would take more of the title is now native speaker, right? Because our dual language program starts from when they're little itty bitty, in kindergarten, 1st grade. And so for the dual language students, when they come up to the high school, they continue taking the native language class in Spanish, and they are taking AP Spanish language as early as 10th or 11th grade. And then there's AP Spanish literature. So that definitely, we have our dual language students that will fulfill their minimum 3 credits for their Regents Diploma of Advanced designation. But I got to tell you, I would say almost 100% of our students carry through and take a world language or LOT class throughout their high school and up until, they graduate with us and they move on to college. And so the various languages that a student can take not for the dual language, but in general, would be Spanish, French, Latin, and Italian. And I hope I answer your question. Yes. So in ninth grade, because of the computer science standards that are now required by the New York State Education Department, a student can take potentially, that could be, if the student is taking the computer science elective in ninth grade, that would be their elective. But for the following year, that ninth grader that already took the computer science class, they can take two electives. So they can potentially take more than one, but typically if they're the one that there's going to be a random selection of students that will need to take the computer science class in order to fulfill that requirement, that would be their elective for that year. When they go into 10th grade, then they don't need to fulfill that criteria because they took it already in ninth grade. And then those that are taking computer science in 10th grade, right, not in ninth grade, they would take an elective such as the ones that we mentioned that Mrs. Logan mentioned. I'm sorry, Ms. Batista mentioned. Okay. Any other questions? Yes. So in the curriculum guide, when you go to the website, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to incorporate a hyperlink in that PowerPoint presentation so you can just simply click and go to the curriculum guide. But when you go to the website, the HUFSD website, and you go to main navigation, guidance, I know it's multi-steps, but that's the website for you. Main navigation, then academic departments, then guidance, and then you'll see forms. You'll hit that and you will see the 24-25 curriculum guide. Just once the document is up, Control F, type in the course if you have a course in mind, and it will take you to that course description. And it will tell you if there's any prerequisites, credit amount, grade level. So you'll be able to view whether the class is for ninth graders or for upperclassmen. Correct. So either way, the way we rolled it out, and we actually had presentations about this at our previous board meetings last year, the way we rolled it out this year is, or the way we roll it out here in our district is the 50% of the cohort will be taking it in ninth grade, and the remaining 50% will be taking it in 10th grade. And this is not necessarily for students that want to go into computer science, the computer science field. This is for everyday usage. You need to know about internet security. You need to know about AI. You need to know about all of these things, because when you go to college, you're going to implement these, acquire knowledge in college. And this is also a standard that the New York State Education Department, I'm foreseeing that it might be a graduation requirement. So they're just rolling it out slowly but surely. So if they want to take it in ninth grade, definitely voice that, speak with the counselor, and we can definitely make arrangements. There's also a few amount of students that are recommended to the AP Computer Science Principles class, but that have already some computer science knowledge and exposure. There's some students that are already taking classes, whether it is after hours, summer, that already know about coding and Kidoyo and Java and all the great stuff, and are ready for the to tackle an AP class. We don't. So it's Algebra 2. So the options are Algebra 2, and then some students, if they need support, it's Algebra 2 with support. So you have a bit of a time. I do say that before the February break, if you can definitely connect and just talk about options with the counselor, if you want to explore that with them, definitely make, you can give them a call, email, a chat, yeah. So you can definitely feel free to make an appointment, we're here to help you. I would say, I mean, they do have a deadline, which is much later, but they have a deadline to enter them in the system so that we can plan for staffing for the following year, So I would say before the February break. So if you can, you have some time. So you have this month, next month, and January, basically, to connect with the counselor and explore the electives. Yes. Well, because of the computer science. So if the student is taking the computer science class. Right, right, right. Now, we have students, correct. And then we have students that may have a resource room, which is much, needed for that student, or a support. So we may work around that. And, we may have that student take another elective and then take computer science the following year. We work around it, but we definitely need to roll out the way it is, 50% and 50%. Again, I'm very excited that we're able to provide, this opportunity, and we're kind of pioneers in this. I just want to brag a little bit when it comes to us exposing our students to the computer science field. Again, it doesn't mean that we want your students to be computer engineers or computer science majors. It's just the exposure so that you can learn everyday knowledge when it comes to computing, coding, etc. Yes. So if they're currently in 8th grade in marching band and they're going to band the following year, that band in 9th grade counts towards their graduation requirement. In 9th grade. So all these classes that we're telling you are the high school. One caveat is that the studio and art, I know it can be confusing. That is a high school credit. So that actually fulfills the art requirement. If your child is taking studio and art as an 8th grader, they will be done fulfilling that one credit of music or art. No, it will prepare them for band, in the future, right? So, any other questions? Okay, yes. So yeah, and we had our AP one-on-one workshop a couple of weeks ago, which was well attended by our 8 through 12 8 through 11 grade parents. And so we are trying to expand our course offerings, and we just want to make sure that students in 9th grade are adapting well to the high school. It's a lot. It is a huge transition. I'm a parent of a senior, so I do know that it was a huge transition. Next year, we're going to deal with another transition. But what I'm trying to say is that we're saying AP Computer Science principles as a starter. Then in 10th grade, there are more offerings. Could be computer science, social studies. They would speak to their counselor. It's usually based by their teacher recommendation and the grade that they earned for that actual 9th grade class. But every year you'll have what's called a pre-registration individual meeting with your high school counselor, in which you'll be talking about the AP course offerings, what your child might be interested in, and also what the teachers do recommend. Teachers know their students so well because they're with them, every single day. So that's why we rely heavily on teacher recommendations, because they know the skill set, the ability, and the know-how, and whether the student is able to succeed in AP classes. One thing is to be enrolled in an AP class. The other thing is to succeed in that class. And so I'm in continuous contact with college representatives. They're like, we can see a transcript with a bunch of AP classes, but there's a bunch of 65s, that's not what really we want for these students. We want to see them flourish and achieve mastery level grades such as 85 and above, and doing well in their AP exams, which is also another requirement as students are in AP classes. They need to take their AP exam at the end of the school year. of that year. So, anything else? Any other question? No, great. So, oh, sorry. So, I mean, a student can take algebra 2, the sequence is algebra 1, algebra 2, geometry, and then the student after geometry can take AP pre-calc, AP calc AB, AP calc BC. So there is time for the student to take at least, I would say, 2 or 3. You can take AP statistics simultaneously of taking AP calc. It all depends on the student's, again, interest level, with their math. No, no, it wouldn't be recommended. And the way we do it is one math class at a time. Yeah. And if there are any other questions, we'll be here. I'll be here for a few more minutes, and you can approach me. But thank you so very much for your time, and I wish you all a great night.